A late-night flight to Cairo cruises 37,000 feet over Greece.
Radar check. Looks clear.
Thank you, Gab.
I like the way that sounds.
Mohammed Shoker is in command of tonight's flight. With more than 6,000 hours of flying time, he's just been promoted to captain.
The initial upgrade to captain, it's a real pinnacle event for an aviator. It's something you work years to attain.
When's ACARS forecast? No deviation.
First Officer Mohammed Assem has 2,700 hours of flying time. He too is an ambitious pilot.
Being a pilot in Egypt is one of the most prestigious jobs in Northern Africa.
Hi there. Could I have a cup of coffee up here?
Make that two, please.
Make that two, please.
This was routine flight. This was a normal crew. Both pilots were very well trained and experienced.
The pilots fly for EgyptAir, a state-owned airline and the flagship carrier of Egypt.
EgyptAir is one of the best airlines in Africa and one of the oldest airlines in the world.
Flight 804 is 2.5 hours into its journey from Paris to Cairo. The pilots are flying an Airbus A320.
The A320 is one of the more modern fly-by-wire computer-enhanced airplanes. It's an extremely reliable veteran workhorse in the commercial aviation industry.
On board the plane tonight are 56 international passengers, Egyptian, French, British, and Canadian. The 5-person cabin crew has a quieter night than usual. The plane is only half full.
Hello, hello. EgyptAir Flight 804, flight level 370.
Squawk number 7624.
Captain Shoker updates controllers on the flight's progress.
EgyptAir 804 radar contact.
Thank you very much.
EgyptAir 804 maintain flight level 370 and current heading.
Greek controllers oversee the airspace Flight 804 is flying through.
Maintain 370.
And current heading. Ifharistopoli. How's the coffee?
Oh, strong, just what I need.
One of the challenges when you're flying on what they call the backside of the clock, where the technical term is a circadian low, and this is when your body normally would be asleep, but you're having to press it because you're on duty.
EgyptAir 804, contact Cairo Center now on 125.300.
As Flight 804 leaves Greek airspace, the controller hands it off to Egyptian control. But the pilots don't acknowledge the instruction.
The fact that they missed the call, understandable. Perhaps they were in conversation and just missed it.
EgyptAir 804, contact Cairo Center 125.300.
After a second call, the controller waits for confirmation from the pilots. There's still no reply.
After the second or third call, that becomes unusual. Something's wrong here.
Then Flight 804 disappears from radar.
Cairo, have you made contact with 804?
No. And we don't have them on radar either.
As the minutes tick by, there's no word from the pilots. Flight 804 doesn't arrive in Cairo.
Normally, crashes occur during takeoff, during landing, somebody runs into a mountain. But at 37,000 feet, not a lot of things that can go wrong. So in that particular case, that was a bit of a mystery.
As day breaks, Egyptian, French, and Greek ships and aircraft search for the plane north of the Egyptian coast.
So
here is the breaking news tonight. A plane that reportedly has some 58 passengers on board has gone missing. A plane with some 58 passengers on board has gone missing. It is EgyptAir Flight 804. It was en route from Paris to Cairo.
Families gather at Cairo Airport, hoping for news. One day after Flight 804 disappears, search teams find debris from the plane.
Around the same time the aircraft went down, in Europe we faced a lot of terrorist attacks in France, in Belgium, and in other parts. I thought that this could be a terrorist attack.
The question inevitably being asked here in Paris is whether or not the plane was sabotaged.
Any survivors?
None have been found.
Egyptian Pilots Association insists that the pilots were not smokers.
According to the Egyptian authorities and the Egyptian media, the pilots weren't smokers. But according to other pilots that I interviewed, they were smokers.
Studying maintenance reports for the aircraft, investigators make an important discovery.
It's not just the ashtrays that were changed. They replaced the FO's oxygen mask. And it looks like it was left in emergency mode. This is just what we need.
The first officer's oxygen mask was changed 3 days before the accident. According to the experts, the oxygen mask was set improperly on an emergency mode.
When an oxygen mask is left in emergency mode, it feeds oxygen at a higher pressure, releasing more oxygen than when it's in normal mode.
I can see where it could, depending on the position, initiate flow out of the hose into the mask and then into the environment.
Aren't the pilots supposed to check the oxygen mask at the start of each day?
Pilots are supposed to check that setting unless someone else on the first flight of that day has already done that. But that doesn't mean that you can do that again.
French judicial investigators speculate that the leaking oxygen saturated the cockpit air, increasing the potential for a sudden fire.
The French report concluded that the aircraft went down because there was something.
Running, where's it coming from? I don't know. I'm taking us down.
The Egyptian government has since banned smoking in the cockpit. As of 2022, there still isn't an official report.
I think we know that there's a lot more information.
What's that?
But there's agreement that the crisis began suddenly, escalated rapidly, and forced the pilots to act fast. While the plane is cruising at 37,000 feet, first signs of a crisis become apparent.
Things had started going wrong.
There's a fire!
You need to get the airplane on the ground now. Too many things are failing. Too many warnings are coming up.
It's spreading. Where's it coming from? I don't know.
The warnings would have spurred the pilots into action, but the situation worsened.
It's getting increasingly smoky. They're going to be increasingly having trouble with breathing.
Blower override. Cabin fans off.
The pilots would have followed the procedures for smoke in the cockpit in an attempt to isolate the source of the smoke.
Electrical bus tie auto. Try to start the APU.
The electrical emergency configuration would have shut down most of the aircraft's systems, leaving the pilots with only some basic controls to bring the plane down.
This is what you do if there's a fire. It has been a proven safeguard in airliners for quite a long time.
It seems the fire grew.
I'm taking us down.
And spread into the passenger cabin.
There is a fire extinguisher in the flight deck. So where's the fire? What's the intensity of the fire? Where's it progressing?
Every second the fire burns, the more damage the plane sustains.
The situation in the flight deck would be chaos because it's becoming increasingly difficult for the pilots to know what they are fighting against.
I can't see!
The cockpit of Flight 804 was likely engulfed in flames as the pilots tried to save their plane. How exactly the pilots tried to fight back the fire is another one of Flight 804's unsolved mysteries.
If nobody knows about what went wrong in a particular accident, how can they change their own programs? How can they devise their aircraft better?
If mistakes were made by EgyptAir or by Airbus, they remain unpublicized. Airbus has not made any changes to the design of the A320 as a result of this accident.
It's been a large number of years since this tragedy happened, and we still don't know why. We owe it to the traveling public, we owe it to crew members, we owe it to the victims' families